My name is Justin Smith. While I've listened to music for most of my life, I've only played an instrument for a little over 6 years. I occasionally write and record my own material, but it's only ever been in a very amateur way. Ever since I started writing music, I've always wanted to record professionally, or at least with more than a laptop and a single microphone. I decided that I wanted to find out how a band would record a song, or even a full album. Since my genre of choice is metal, that's what I decided to pursue. It just so happens that my friend's band was planning to record a song, and they allowed me to sit in and record the process.
My name's Brandon. I'm the vocalist for the band.
Wes, other guitars.
Trace Montgomery, the bass player.
Evan, guitars.
Mike G, drums.
We are Hope Roma. Trace actually lives in Alaska. We just edit him into everything that we do. We've been playing for about almost a year together now, and we've written quite a few different songs. They're not quite finished yet, but we're right there at the end of it. We're getting ready to record soon. So.
Not long after I got to see Hope Roma record their single, Amish Tech Support, Brandon, the singer, left the band. With the spot to fill, they recruited their current singer, me. Let the savagery begin! I was stoked to join. I wanted to find out how one actually records a full album rather than just a single song. The band brought in a friend to record and produce Amish Tech Support, but I wanted to know how the process goes when an actual studio is involved, so I tracked down Atlanta music producer John Douglas.
My name's John Douglas. I am an audio engineer in Atlanta. I've been recording and working with bands professionally for about 4 or 5 years, and just kind of got into recording on my own in high school, working on my own projects, and just kind of learned how to record myself, and that branched out into recording other people, and then later recording voices for movies, TV shows, and just all sorts of different kinds of stuff, different genres. Usually the drummer and one of the guitarists comes in, and we take all their demos, all their pre-production stuff, whatever they've got, and lay it out in our program with with a click track, and start trying to make just see where the band's at, see where the songs are, see how much work needs to be done there. If time allows for it, I always like to spend some pre-production time before anything really gets recorded for real. Rearranging parts, rearranging songs, changing tempos. This is the kind of stuff that you don't really want to be doing halfway into the recording a song. You don't want to get halfway into a song and decide it needs to be 3 BPM faster. You don't want to finish editing your drums and then realize that you need to make that chorus twice as long as it is at the moment because it doesn't fit with the vocals or something like that. So if possible, I'd like to spend a couple days just working on song structures whether or not the riffs are exactly as the guitarist is going to play, it doesn't really matter. Whether the vocals are word for word what the vocalist is going to sing doesn't really matter, although it's nice to have a template like that. If you can go into making a record with a whole template of what the album is going to be and you're just filling in the blanks like a coloring book, that's great. And it takes a whole lot of stress off of you as a producer to know what decision to make next, because it's just whatever is available, the next space I got to color in, let's go do that. Once that's done, we'll start setting up drums, and when we're setting up drums, we're tuning them, trying different drums, trying different heads, trying different combinations of cymbals, and setting up mics and just kind of gradually building it up, because we may end up with anywhere from 16, 18, 20 something drum mics, and each one of those we could flip the phase or turn the gain up or down, or it could be clipping, it could be moved back or forth in the room. There's all these variables with drums that really have to be taken care. You really have to pay attention and take care with it. So it's usually a day or two. If it's a short session, I will spend just an hour or two. But ideally, with a full length record, I'd like to spend a day or two setting up drums and getting tones. And if they have like a favorite record that has, we really love the snare on this one record, I'll go and listen to that and then compare it to the snare that we've got in the room, just with no processing or whatever, and see if we're close. If we're not close, maybe it's time to try a different snare or a different mic or any number of different variables. Once we're finalized on that, then we'll start recording drums and do a few songs a day and do as much editing as quickly as I can. And then once the drummer's happy, we move on to guitars. And we usually do guitars before bass because it's harder to get bass to stay in tune generally than it is with guitars, with low-tuned bands. And if you record bass on its own, it's hard to know if it's out of tune because you don't have any reference from that to the guitars. And if you're checking against pre-production guitars, those are probably out of tune because the guitarist doesn't know what he's doing. Or they might not be, but that happens a lot. People, when people are recording demos, they're not trying to make sure that they get the perfect take because it's a demo. So we record some guitars, and usually just the rhythm guitars. And usually there's a pretty clear separation between rhythm and lead guitars. Lead guitars can kind of be, you have one little part here, you have one little part there, and they may be completely different sounding tones, whereas generally for metal records, the rhythm guitars have the same tone throughout the whole record, and you use the same settings, the same guitar, maybe two guitars if it's two different guitarists playing the rhythm tracks. A lot of times, though, it's cool to just have one guitarist play all the rhythm tracks on one guitar so that it's very consistent, and you don't have two guitarists will have slightly different techniques to where, one might palm mute in a slightly different ways than the other guitarist, and then when you stack those and one's in the left ear and one's in the right ear, they don't sound right because there's different attacks and different frequency things happening. So once we get through rhythm guitars generally can be one of the most grueling things to record because it's a lot of times it's hard parts that the guitarists have written and they think they can play them perfectly, and I'm hearing something that they're doing in their technique that's not really, it's maybe a string that's ringing, or it may be a noise when they're sliding from one place to another. But there's oftentimes guitarists come in with the thing that they're just going to play through the song and rip through it, and it's going to take an hour, maybe at the most, and that usually doesn't happen. It usually comes down to punching small chunks of audio and tuning the guitar specifically for this 3-second part that we're going to punch in, just depending on where on the neck he is playing. So it could be a really tedious process. But once you get through that, then you get to do bass, and which is also tedious, and you have to make sure everything is totally in tune and is gelling with the guitars, and that there's that it's gelling with the drums too. That you want your solid rhythm section there. But bass usually goes a little faster because you're only recording one note. Once bass is done, we usually move on to vocals, and vocals is all about making the singer feel comfortable. And once you get the singer comfortable, usually it's pretty easy. You just sit there and you hit record, and you try to keep him. You try to keep him from blowing his voice out, and you try to keep him happy, and try to keep him from feeling like he sounds like garbage, which happens sometimes. A lot of times what happens is you hit record for the first couple times, and he just is like, he'll stop in the middle of the take and be like, no, that was terrible. I don't know what's wrong with my voice. I can't do anything. I'm just going to go lay down. And it's your job to kind of keep them in the mood to record. And that goes with everybody in the band, but I think it's the most important with singers, really. We're trying to get an emotion out of them. We're trying to get them to make some kind of emotional connection with the listener. And if they don't feel like being there, that's going to come through in the vocals, probably.
Oh, our trash can player. Yeah, he his equipment's here, but
We're not Nirvana, we're actually